PARCA Technical Section 3.1 covers database types. Database types are flat file, hierarchical, relational, and object relationship databases, and also something called mumps. It has nothing to do with the disease mumps. Mumps is a computer language. So database basics. Database provides the capability of storing and retrieving information in a structured and efficient manner. And there's different kinds of databases we'll talk about in a minute. For a PACS administrator, knowledge about databases is important because all the image information and patient information is stored in databases. Information about each item in a database is called a record. And to access information from a database, you need a database management system. So database type flat file. This is the simplest database. Typically, these have text-based information in a comma or tab separated file. Think Excel sheet when I say comma or tab separated file. A DICOM dir or DICOM directory file is a good example of a flat file database. In a flat file database, one line of text is a record. So a flat file database can be customized with custom data types and methods. In other words, you can put things like patient's eye color into that database. So it's very customizable, and you can take that and connect it to another program, and it's easy to customize and scalable and work with and move around, and you can do all kinds of things with a flat file database. Then there's database type hierarchical. A database can be hierarchical where different files are linked in a hierarchical or tree structure. So here you see a tree structure database model, so you have all of these things which report to this thing, which is under this thing. And another way to think of this is it sort of mirrors the Windows folder structure, right? So if I just change root to C drive and these were folders, then these would all be subfolders under those folders. So that's a good way to think of the hierarchical or tree structure database. Database type relational. Relational databases enable the linking up of different tables and enable references. So when I say a table, again, you want to think of like an Excel sheet, a whole bunch of rows and columns with information in it. A relational database is also known as a tabular database. Again, to reference Excel, at the bottom you would have tabs, so you could have one table and then click on the next tab and that would be a different table. A relational database consists of tables that are related to each other through common values. So in that tabular database or relational database, you can link across different tables based on patient name or patient medical record number. You can pull information from all of those different tabs, so they are all related through some common value. And then there is database type object, also known as an object-oriented database or object relationship database. In an object database, data is stored as objects, each of which has a unique identifier. So this is a little different than a relational database, but it works kind of similar. So instead of storing information in a giant Excel sheet with all these tabs, it puts them into bundles or objects. And again, you're using a relationship between these objects, but they're not stored in tabs and tables, they're stored as objects. And it works best with object-oriented programming. So things like Python and Java use objects in their programming. So depending on what application you're working with, you may want to choose between a relational type database or an object-oriented database. And don't worry, you will never have to figure that out. The PACS systems all know what sort of database they want, and the vendor will put that all together for you. You won't have to figure that out, but you do need to know it for the certification exam. So records in an object database are defined as object classes and subclasses. Again, that's almost like that Windows directory structure. Finally, there is MUMPS database language. It was developed by Massachusetts General Hospital. So a lot of people think that IT technology is invented by IBM and technology companies. No, Massachusetts General Hospital invented this MUMPS database language, and it's used throughout healthcare. It does not use SQL. MUMPS is both a database and a database language, and it's similar to a hierarchical database in structure, but it's relational in function. So it takes sort of the best of the hierarchical database tree structure, but puts it into tables so it can be used in a relational function. So that's what you need to know for Section 3.1 of the certification exam. Thank you for watching.